This episode of Philly Fame TV is sponsored by Top Dog Law. Now y'all already know who to call for any accidents or injury cases. If you want that top dollar, you better get that Top Dog. You can hit him up on Instagram at Top Dog Law or visit his website www.topdoglaw.com. Philly Fame. Alright, welcome back to Philly Fame TV once again. Shout out to everybody that tapped in once again. Shout out to everybody that's been tapping in once again. I really do appreciate all the support, all the feedback, and the love and all that. So I'm going to keep these joints going. We right back again. Episode 9. What happened to Hollowman? This time we doing Team A, SMS Hollowman. The last episode we did, Hollowman Paper Chasers, my folks. His little bro, shout to Yola Slime, he actually reached out to me to do, Hollowman teammate story, like a month ago. But, I felt like it was only right that I do my folks first. Hollowman Paper Chasers first before I do, the other Hollow. So that's kind of how I carried it. So, shout out, like I said, shout out to his little bro. Definitely, been riding for him and holding him down. And he definitely said he seen the episodes and he wanted me to do one on his bro. So, I told him I'd definitely do it because, I fuck with bro. So, and, him and my folks, they got a few things in common. Coincidentally, like, outside of the name, they both go by Raheem too. Like Paper Chasers, Hollowman go by Raheem, real name and all that. And Team A Hollowman go by Raheem. They both dark skinned, skinny niggas from North Philly, two official neighborhoods in North, Area Avenue, certified stamp, and SMS, Strawberry Mansion section, certified and stamped. And they both stamped and certified in their neighborhoods, like both of their neighborhoods was stamping them and bagging them. So, they rap different. They look a little different as far as Hollow. PC got the beard and the low cut, and the Team A Hollowman had more of a clean face with the braids and all that. He a little younger, and all that. So, but they both had mutual respect. They both fuck with each other, so that's before we get into his rap career and his rap history and all of that, we gonna jump back into a little bit of his backstory, a little background before he got into rapping. Then we get into his rapping and where he at now and all that. So, most people know him, everybody know him from Napa Street, Strawberry Mansion section and all that. But he originally from Raymond Rosen Projects on 23rd and Diamond Street. That's where him and his fam originally from. He had two sisters on his mom's side, Sarah and Della. So shout out to them and all that. And at some point in time in his younger years, he had moved to Williamsport. While he was out there, he got into boxing and all that. So that was his thing out there. And while he was out there, he definitely, wanted to come back to the city. He was homesick, missing the city and all that. So eventually his family members, from that stayed in Philly that was on, 23rd and Diamond, some of them had moved over to Napa Street. SMS, Aunt Kim actually. Aunt Kim moved to Napa Street. And, she had opened her doors up for him to come stay there with her, because he wanted to come back to the city. So he moved, in there in Napa Street. And that's where he pretty much became Hollowman. That's where everything started at for him. With Team A and all that. Link with Sicko and Wink and all that. That's where it all began. So, at some point in time, Cicero was fucking with Team A. Before they was Team A, they was A-Team. Then they turned to Team A. And Cicero was down with him. And I did the Cicero story too. And I actually forgot to mention this part because I forgot about it. And doing research for this Hollow joint, just brushing up on the info, I came across, the Wink and Sicko interview I did a minute ago. And I totally forgot about what they said in there for our Sis. Like, they said Sis was actually down with them first. Before he got down with Sandman Cannons and then joined Rico and also before all of that shit, this before the DVD wave and all of that, he was down with them. So he used to be down around there with them. This like I said, I forgot to mention that.
Team Mac, everybody knew Team Mac. They knew Sicko was rapping with a group called Team Mac. We was Sister Hollowman. He was Cicero. Cicero was branded with the team. You know what I mean?
So you said Sis was down with y'all?
Yeah, Sis was with us. Yeah.
Around what time was that? You give me that right there. I ain't never knew that.
I used to be rapping. Merce and Tro. Shout out to my niggas Merce and Tro. They from Napa, but they used to be up Germantown too. They mom lived up Germantown. They was like, I'm gonna get my man Cicero. I'm gonna get my man Cicero down here. Cicero was rapping with us. He got plenty songs with Team Mac. 18. He used to say 18. Back when he used to beef with Cassidy. He used to always, he would bring us up. 18, Team Mac. He'd say our name. You go a lot of clippings. Every time he say 18 teammates when he beefing, it's a lot with that. It's a lot. We go on and on and on and on with that. People probably don't even know Cicero and Sick was partners. They was partners before.
I watched Bob John. Old Bob John.
Headshots too, he was hosting that. He hosted on our block.
CY, man, CPC, down the hood right now. Check, teammate, nigga. Look, listen, check.
I was out there. I wasn't no rapper at the time, quick rap at the time. But Cicero, he hosted that on our block. On the Headshots too, the one he hosted it. I was studying. You want to see me because I was trying to hold all these people back from his age. That's why you want to see me in there. But Sick was on there. There was a few people on there. Yeah, it's a long story with that. He definitely was with us.
Cicero around. A lot going on around there. A lot of trademark infringement, but it is what it is.
Shout out to my man GP. They had a group called L Dub. Gunplay. Them Cicero Gunplay. They got so much music together. They can come out with CDs at the CDs at the CDs. He was with teammate. Then he went to Rico and no. Shout out to my man Rico. I fuck with Rico.
So he was with y'all first.
He was with us before Rico.
He was with us before he was.
So I definitely wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, before he was with Sandman, he was with us. I mean, that shit don't matter when he was with us, but he was down there. He was down. He was in the mix with us.
He's
down
with
the way.
He's this right here. He's with us. Yeah.
So that's kind of how that whole situation happened. And they actually did a couple DVDs together down on that block. Like I think they was on the Tour for the Streets DVD together, and the Headshots 2 DVD that Cicero hosted. They did it right down there on the block with them. So that's a part I didn't mention on the last joint, but yeah, that Cicero was around for that. He played the integral part in the situation with Hollow, which I'll get into a little bit in a second. So I'm going to touch on when I first heard Hollow, when I first heard of him, when I first heard him. It was the Heavy Spitters DVD. I mean, one of them early Heavy Spitters joints. I mean, he was on there. Sicko was on there too. Sicko actually killed that joint. It was a heavy DVD, a classic joint. I think it's the same joint Hollowman Paper Chase was on. It might have been the same DVD if I'm not mistaken. It could have been different, but I believe it might have been the same one. Yeah, and Sicko had spit on that joint too. He had a crazy legendary verse, the Maurice Green joint. I remember that when I first heard it. He had the glasses on and all that. So I remember, boy, he stuck out to me. And then
if this beef, you ain't clapping this guy. If this beef shell spray like it's African pride. Why? Cause the A's the team that stay with cream. Put shells on your face like it's Maybelline. It's the kid that I ball with green in my shotgun. Make your blood run like Maurice Green. And it always seems that cats wanna get their brains blown on all of their team.
And then Hollow came. I mean, and I ain't gonna lie, when I first heard that freestyle, I was not feeling him. Like, cause I'm like, damn, this boy named Hollowman too. Like my folks and all that, man. So I'm listening. So I was interested in hearing how he sound, hearing rap, and I was not feeling that joint in the kitchen, joint and all. I did not initially. Let me say that at first when I first heard it, I didn't like it. No, you didn't. I mean, I wasn't feeling it.
Listen, shit, when it's war, ain't no bitchin'. I got the guns and the knives out the kitchen. Fuck a witness snitchin'. I can sink you or shoot you, make a decision. Sticky Joe got me low on vision. I love women, but I hate spending. Pay the fuck no, that's the ending. It's Hollow, I'm in the hood like the engine.
But people was, to my surprise, like a lot of people was fucking with bro. Like niggas was feeling him. I mean, like real shit. Like I mean, so according to him, he wasn't a rapper at first. I mean, he said that was more Sicko and Cicero, because at some point in time they was rap partners. I mean, for a hot minute, like Sicko and Cicero was like a little tag team group or whatever. So Hollow wasn't rapping. I mean, he just was around them. I mean, he was more like in the streets with it. I mean, and you know, by him being around them, he pretty much got inspired. I mean, that's why I said Cicero played a little part in it, because him being around Cicero and Sicko and them doing anything, you know, they both was hot. I mean, Sicko was talking that shit, Cicero was talking that shit, so it inspired him to start writing and shit. And he said start writing, and he spit. I mean, for them, and they was feeling him, and they kind of encouraged him to push him to keep writing. And they was telling him like, yo, when the DVD camera boys come around, like, you know, jump on there, spit the raps you got. I mean, on that type time. And that's pretty much what he started doing. So that's how the Heavy Spitter joint came. Then I started seeing other joints that he did after that. And I was like, oh, all right, yeah. You know what I mean? All right, I get it now. Like, I mean, I get it. I understand.
Hey, man, you know, it was really like Cicero and Sick. It was a couple of them that was rappers. And, you know, I really wasn't no rapper boy, I mean, but, you know, being around them so much, you know, the company that you keep, you know, you wind up doing things that they do. So I started writing down stuff. And then, you know, they started telling me, like, yo, when the DVD boys come around or whatever, man, spit the stuff. So I started spitting my little stuff, man, and, you know, people started to like it. So, you know, I just kept writing, and that's how I wound up, you know what I mean? Everybody just started feeling me, so that's how that came about.
Listen, yo, they say I'm crazy cause my style different. They say I'm crazy cause the Xannies and the 40s got my mind twisted. They say I'm crazy cause the guns I'm living. Because the M1 known to leave a motherfucking biscuit dripping. Not from butter, leave it bloody, catch you while you lovey-dovey. Put the Luger to your belly. What the fuck can you tell me? I jam niggas like jelly. I can't stand niggas like white racist sillies. Money low, I can't eat, I ain't fucking healthy. I can't sleep without listening to some Machiavelli. So weed in school, that's all my teacher felt me. I should've pitched in the face like I'm on Kelly. She should've paid me some dough if she wanna help me. Block slow and bitches keep playing on my celly. The cops out trying to plot, trying to fucking jump me. Now I can't sleep, can't barely eat, can't barely creep. Shit getting deep, but I ain't backing out. I'd rather clap it out until my heart beat and my blood stop pumping out. I ain't pumping out, I'd rather ride patch and strip like Tic Tac 9 start dumping out.
Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, get y'all a word from one of our local sponsors. This episode of Philly F.A.M.E TV is brought to you by 1212 plant-based hair care products. These products are good for men and women and best used in barbershops and hair salons. You could pick up some 1212 products at Hairbuzz and Hairtown in Philadelphia. Also shop online, 12haircare.com for all deliveries. Now back to regular scheduled programming. I mean, yeah, YouTube, I mean, niggas was throwing them joints on YouTube and he's getting hundreds of thousands of views on them joints. Like, so he started having a crazy little wave, even though it was already a Hollow who had a crazy wave. Like, that didn't hinder or stop, and they ain't really, I mean, it wasn't really a thing. Like, maybe in the beginning, like he said, people kind of was comparing them a little bit at first, but after a while, it was just like, I mean, like, they both was able to coexist. Like, I mean, like, so it just was crazy how that worked out. And there was never no beef, no shots, none of that stuff. I mean, it was just all love, like. And I mean, from the DVD wave that he had, and they was getting, like, they had a little situation on the table with Def Jam. They had somebody plugged them in with Def Jam, and they had that on the table, but the person that was connecting them and plugging them in, I mean, something happened with them, like, and it was like a bad situation as far as that, and that kind of like, you know, deterred that whole Def Jam situation. That whole situation kind of fell through. I mean, like.
But then me and Hollow, you know what I'm saying, we went to Def Jam. We was doing a lot of shit with them. Nigga tried blackball us in there, so we had to do what we had to do, take a Brody situation and keep it moving. But there was a lot going on around that time, man.
So that was like 03, 04, around that time. And also in 04, you know, Hollow was featured on the Too Raw for the Streets battle joint. He had the you know, the battle on the barbershop where Cicero had battled Major League and a few other people was battling, and Hollow battled in that joint. I mean,
Cause the chicks get a bull score, yeah, the clip for you a bitch, boy. I got rap in the lot like a pit bull. I'm the shit, boy. Don't have a fit horse. I ain't the only one, trust me, there's plenty more. I got plenty bulls, you can come with me, whore, but I don't pay the fuck, so you can call me stingy, whore. I'm a stingy boy, I don't waste cash, I take cash, cock and blast for one in the space smash. Niggas trash, trying to spit 16 balls, they be better off trying to steal 16 cars. Yeah, on some New Jersey Drive shit. Oslo, I'm on some blueberry high shit. But I'ma drink it at a dump at you thinking and ride past your balls and give him the middle finger chunk. Sick, point him out, and I'ma hit him up. Deuce, coming down, 4-4, lift him up. I don't give a fuck. Send me to jail, that's one of your options when you a young black male.
So later on in 04, sometime after that battle, he ended up getting locked up. I mean, he was down from 04 to 07. He said, you know, according to him, you know, some weird stuff had happened in the hood, you know, because he was rapping. But like I said, he was still in the streets too. He was more of a street person before he was rapping. So when he started rapping, he still was, you know, in a mix of the streets. So something had happened in the hood. He didn't really get too in detail about what it was. He just said some weird stuff happened, and he ended up sliding OT to get out the way, get away from the situation. And he ended up getting locked up on like Penn State campus somewhere. You know, Penn State got multiple campuses. He ain't really say which one, so it could have been Edmonton, main campus. I don't know. Like he said, he ended up locking him up on Penn State campus, and he got hit with a 3 to 6 year sentence. I mean, that's all. So he ended up locked up from 04 to 07. So once he got his little wave rapping, he got locked up immediately in the mix of that and missed the whole next couple years. So once the whole headshots and touch money wave and all that came around, and you know, he missed all that. I mean, and even our DVDs, he wasn't on none of them joints. Like, so he had missed a whole nice little wave right there where he wasn't around. I mean, so he eventually came back home after he did his 3 years, so 04 to 07. He ended up coming back home in 07, sometime in 07. And then shortly after that, he ended up getting locked up again for another little situation. Again, he ain't specify what, just had some little petty weird stuff. I mean, he ended up getting locked up again and sat down for a whole another year. So he 07 to 08. So he pretty much missed the whole, from 04 to 08 pretty much. He was only home a couple months out of that 4 years. I mean, so he missed the whole chunk of that whole wave early on. I mean, so then he ended up coming back home in 2008, sometime in 2008. I mean, and then 2009, that's when he was featured in the, you know, the classic Beanie Siegel video. 2009, he dropped 2 tapes. We dropped the Rap Snacks joint, which was like a advertiser drawing the whole people off, the lead up to his official tape, which was Air Bleed to come. I mean, and on the back of the Rap Snacks joint, you know, we had Hollowman Team A versus Hollowman PC on there, because, you know, they had linked up at this point in time. I mean, they had linked up and met at Club Floor or something like that, I believe, and talked about doing some work together, doing some songs or doing a tape or something like that. So, but that never happened. But by that conversation, he ended up putting that on the back of the CD cover. I mean, and then also in 2009, the Air Bleed joint came out. I mean, that was his official tape, and that was like a hood classic at the time. I mean, like, it was produced and hosted by Conway. You know, Conway was lit at the time because he was doing, you know, a lot of them bangers for Meek. I mean, he had that. I mean, he had a little wave from that. And also, Hollow was actually supposed to, you know, they talked about doing a song with Meek. Him and Hollow through Conway, through that connection with Conway, but it never happened. I mean, but that'd have been a crazy joint at the time. You know, Meek was super wavy at the time. As far as how he rapped and how he carried it, it would have meshed well with Hollow, because Hollow's real energetic, real charismatic. You know, he's skinny, dark-skinned nigga with braids. Meek, skinny with the braids at the time. They both had the same type of, energy as far as like how they was carrying this. So I thought they probably would have did a good little joint together. That'd been a good look for Hollow if they would have been able to get that. But unfortunately, it never happened. I mean, but like I said, Air Bleed was a certified classic, and that was like his only official mixtape that he dropped outside of the Rap Snacks joint, which, like I said, was like an appetizer leading up to it. So that was in 2009. Then in 2010, he ended up getting locked up again. I mean, this was for a more serious situation. I mean, like, so he only was home a year and a half, you know, from getting locked up the last time where he got him sometime in 2008. He said he was only home for like a year and a half before he get locked up again. I mean, so at this time, he's 25 years old. I mean, he was in the mix, in the high, like I said, coming off the high prime of his career, off the Beanie Siegel video and dropping that mixtape and all that. So he was wavy, he was rolling, like, and then he get locked up again.
I mean, and you know, I got caught up in some streets and some weird stuff happened around the way, so I tried to go somewhere else. and wound up getting caught up Penn State University. I got locked up out there, and wound up getting like a 3 to 6. That was in '04, so I was booked from '04 to '07 when the time came home. And then I wound up getting booked again for like a year for some nonsense again. And I was probably out for like a year and a half, and then wound up catching this case right here, and I've been doing ever since, man. But I'm back down here now because I won my appeal, so inshallah things work out right, man, so I can get back out there, you know.
I mean, at the time he was father, he had multiple kids, know what I mean? So he was taken away from his kids, taken away from the streets, taken away from the people, taken away from, know what I mean? The city, taken away from the rap game, taken away from all that. Like, he was just locked up. I mean, so the Beanie Siegel video, which he was featured in, which was heavy, I mean, that ended up coming back to bite him. Only thing they could do was use this rap shit. So they used that video to paint him as this a confession to the crime that they was charging him, accusing him of. Basically saying he was rapping about the whatever lyrics they was saying in the songs. They were saying that these lyrics apply to this case, pretty much. I mean, so that was the sole evidence they had against him, was the rap lyrics in the Ghetto video. So that's pretty much what they was using as, you know, to convict him, and unfortunately it worked. He said they made him look bad in that joint with that video. They used that video and them lyrics to paint him that way and make him look bad. You know, they already was, you know, accusing him of being like Team A, of being a gang instead of a rap group. They are trying to say they was a gang and he was a gang leader and all this type of stuff. So they just was pretty much painting him in that light and using these things to kind of give credence to what they were saying, like make it valid, like look at him and listen to him, and this is the person who would do that. That's kind of, a lot of people got railroaded like that with the rap shit, like that ain't nothing new, like, but he was one of the early people because it was 2010, I mean, so I mean, he was, a lot of people they used it against, but he was one of them. So they ended up finding him guilty, and they gave him willed him out. I mean, that's crazy, like, for that, like, they didn't have no evidence, like, that was just crazy how they was able to use his rap image to convict him, pretty much. So when he got locked up, at first, you know, I guess he didn't accept that life sentence and all that, so he still had plans on getting back out and doing music. So he said he was writing at first, so I mean, he still had some ideas to drop some stuff and all that. He said that idea for a tape called, like, Halloween, you know, instead of Halloween, like, man, play off his name. So he said he had some ideas and stuff, but after a while, he said he just kind of lost the love for it, being as though he felt like rap was the reason why he was locked up. I mean, he felt like they used that image and they used that lyrics, and it kind of left a bad taste in his mouth, on top of him getting more into his religion, Islam, and more into his deen, and realizing, you know, music, he shouldn't really be doing music anyway based on his religion. So he kind of like started falling back from music early on in his bid and started really just getting into his religion and all of that, and seeing what's up with his case and all that type stuff. So we actually did an interview with him, you know, in August of 2017. I mean, at that time, he'd been down for 7.5 years. Like I said, he got locked up in 2010. So we did the joint in 2017. You know, at that time, that's when we was getting everybody from that era, all the, you know, the Touch Money guys, the Top Class guys, and everybody from that DVD era. So we ended up getting him at that time. And at the time that we got him, you know, that's when he was talking about, you know, he wasn't really on rap stuff and all that. He's more so focused on his case. Because at the time that we interviewed him, he had just, you know, won an appeal for a new trial. Like, he appealed his, you know, he was appealing his case. He was in a law library heavy, so he was representing himself, and he ended up, you know, getting some rhythm. So they had him down on State Road at the time. Prior to that, he was in SCI Dallas. So, you know, while he was waiting for his new trial date and all that, he was on State Road. So that's when we did the interview. He pretty much shared the story about, you know, all the stuff he was talking about up until that time, as far as the rap career and his case and all that. So then in December of 2017, so we did the interview in August. So in December, he was actually given a new trial date. So in December 2017, they set his trial date for September of 2018. So in January of 2018, the top of the year, which was the following month from him getting that news, we actually did another interview, know what I mean, with him to give an update on his case, letting people know that he was able to overturn his life sentence, represent himself, overturn his life sentence, and he got a new trial deed. And he wanted to, let people know, to raise some awareness, to get people to come out and support him, know what I mean, show him some love, and, know what I mean, so he can get about the situation. So he's basically doing an interview to let people know about that, know what I mean. And he also was talking about at that time that he started getting an itch for music again. So he started playing around with it. Know what I mean, he told me he was writing and stuff like that again. Like, he just was inspired to start writing again. So I actually hyped him up to spit some bars and all that. Like, give him a little something. He actually spit something, know what I mean, over the phone. Like, he sound like the same old Hollow. Like, he sound like ain't nothing changed. He ain't missed a step, like, I mean.
Well, yeah, man, like, let the people hear a little something. They ain't hear from you in a minute. Like, give them a little something that you been cooking up, you know what I mean?
Well, I got some hood bars, and then, I got some salty stuff when I be, when I still got my flus and all that, you hear me?
Right.
So which one you think I should get to first?
Give him the Grammy jar first, and then give him the flus, you know what I mean?
Alright, got it. I said, I said, I speak pain. I used to pray for rain to wash away them blood stains. Cause when niggas start dying, that's when you see the letter change. I speak cane, wrapped up in plastic, over top of it, duct tape and elastic, that's how it came. They say I'm strange cause I carry my pistols and look my name, B-57 tucked in my brief hands. I'm insane, popping pills, sipping on pull out the same fucking with my equilibrium system, so it got me on lane.
So, and he also introduced his new alias, being Rollo, on IG and all that. I was asking about that, I mean, because he had an IG page ran by his little bro, once shout out to Yola Slime, I mean, he was running the IG page for him, he had his name Rollo on there, so he was talking about that. I mean, that was pretty much the gist of the interview for the most part. And like I said, that was on top of 2018, January 2018, and this trial came, for September of 2018. And unfortunately, he ended up losing again, getting found guilty again. I mean, and that was crazy, because I was hopeful and he was hopeful that he was going to bounce up out of that joint, I mean, but unfortunately, he didn't. Found him guilty, 2018 again, I mean, and since then, news came out about, the one of the lead detectives on this case, Detective Nordo, ended up getting charged and eventually convicted. But he was going through, some stuff while Hollow was going to trial.
Today's paper. Look what we have here. Boom. Same cop.
Like, he was actually, they was investigating him and shit like that while Hollow was going through trial. But that wasn't revealed to his lawyer. Like, they didn't give Hollow that information, letting him know, like, Detective Nordo was going through what he was going through. So that was one of the issues Hollow had, which was why one of the reasons why he was able to give the life sentence back and get a new trial, because he had some issues with his original joint. And by him representing himself and finding them issues and getting that new trial, that let you know that he had some strong issues. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get him up out of there at the time, know what I mean? But Detective Nordo, one of the most corrupt detectives, in Philly, at the time when he was running, that's why he in jail now. All types of claims against him. And, people came home off of him already, like Bucky. Bucky, the D-Block affiliate from Philly, he was locked up for murder and was given life. And he ended up bouncing out of there because of Detective Nordo. Also, I believe Still, if I ain't mistaken, Still from Too Sick and Magic and Still. I did an interview with him a little minute ago, and I believe Detective Nerdo was on his joint too. So it's like a lot of rappers from Philly that ended up in these situations with murder cases and shit like that. A lot of them had Nordo on their joint, bro, and that's crazy. Like, he just, and he got a long history of the same stuff, like. So that's another reason why Hollow was hopeful that, that he'll be able to bounce up out of that. And, but Fortunately, he ain't get his relief yet, but other people came home. I'm sure other names too probably came home off North, though. Know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like, so, in recent time, back in like September of 2022 or last year, you know what I mean, he had put a freestyle out, know what I mean, that was posted on IG called The Other Side of Drilling. Know what I mean, his folks had posted it up on his page for him, know what I mean, so that was like one of his most recent posts in a minute, as far as some rapping and stuff like that. We shared the little message in that joint.
My story, let me tell it, I'm a felon. I was jealous, at least of me, I was jealous. Free the fella, staying tall, no telling, keep a pulling, God willing. Someday we make it home. This the other side of drilling. They ain't tell me that my bitch would cheat. Tell me that my bitch will leave. Tell me that she out fucking. Tell me that she on her knees. Tell me that my kids gon' miss me. Tell me that my kids gon' need me. Ever since she got a boyfriend, she don't bring the kids to see me. Tell me that my nigga fake. Tell me that my nigga rap. Tell me that he fuck with faggots. How I'm supposed to stomach that? Tell me that my mother's sick. Tell me I can't hold her. Tell me who gon' console her. Who gon' take care of her when she get older? Tell me.
Earlier this year, he had posted, I mean, a flick of him and all that top of the year, and a couple other videos of other people supporting their movement, some of his folks and all that. But yeah, that's like the latest stuff that came from Hollow, like the picture he posted earlier this year of him. I mean, like I said, his folks run the page, Lil Bro run the page, but like that's like the last thing earlier this year. You know what I mean? Like that's the last situation as far as I seen him, and I ain't talked to him in a minute. I ain't hollered at him in a little minute and all that. Like I follow his page and all that, been seeing what he been posting over that period of time, but I ain't physically talked to him in a little minute, man. We probably gonna have to do another little interview to update him on the situation. But me knowing him, I know he's still fighting to get out. Like he ain't gonna leave. That's one thing he said in the interview, bro. He never was gonna settle with the fact that he had life. I mean, he wasn't never gonna settle with that. That's why he started hitting the law library and learning and, I mean, submitting them documents and appealing and all that, trying to get up out of there. So I'm pretty sure he's still doing that to this day. Like, bro, not gonna lay down. He not gonna give up. He ain't going. I mean, me knowing him and having that conversation with him, them interviews, like, he ain't going. I mean, he ain't letting that go. Even though they denied him again and found him guilty again, bro, still gonna fight and try to figure his way up out of that joint. Like, I mean, that's the Hollow I know, Rollo I know. Know what I mean? And that's pretty much what happened to Hollowman and where he is today. I mean, it's crazy. He had a short run with the rap shit, bro. He was in jail, I mean, for the majority of the time. So that kind of really hindered him and slowed him down and stopped him. Because who ain't no telling, if he never found himself in these situations, the multiple situations he found himself in where he had to go away. Like, I mean, but he said he was in the mix. I mean, but if he'd have just focused more on rap, man, ain't no telling, bro. Had all the energy, the charisma. I mean, he's real animated and all that. I mean, so he was entertaining to a lot of people rapping. A lot of people, he was believable in how he was carrying it and all that. He's from official place. They all was stamping him, I mean, so he had a nice little wave. And he had other rappers around him. I mean, Wink, Sicko. I mean, like, he had a little squad, like. So ain't no telling, like, I mean, what he could have done with it. I mean, not saying he could have blew up and be the biggest guy ever, like, but who knows? Like, ain't no telling what he could have been, bro. It's just crazy. Like, we would never know because of what happened. I mean, and that's why the story was important to tell. I mean, so shout out to Hollow, man. Free Hollow, free Rollo. Shout out to his little bro, Yoda Slime. Also, shout out to his cousin, Pot and Pan Bully on IG. You can follow both of them. Know what I mean, they both hold him down. They both support him. Both keep his name alive. And they gave me a little background info on him to share on this joint, so I could be as accurate as possible. Because when we did the 2 interviews with him, we didn't really talk about, his childhood and all his back. We pretty much was talking about his rap career and his case and all that. So they had gave me a little bit of info on his background and all that. So shout out to them. Again, shout out to Hollow, shout out to Rollo, man. Free my guy, man. And, that's going to conclude this episode of What Happened To and Where He Is Now, episode 9. Shout out to everybody that tapped in. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Shout out to everybody that been tuning in. Shout out to everybody that been showing love, been giving good feedback. I mean, keep supporting, keep showing love. We're going to keep dropping. We're going to keep coming. I mean, new content coming soon. Follow us on IG at Philly Fame TV. Follow us on TikTok, all social platforms. My man, check out the merch. Cop some merch, man. We got the merch on the page and all that. Click the link, grab some merch, support. I mean, and outside of that, till next time, man, we signing out. Philly Fame TV. We out of here.